That happened really early for me. I guess what would I have been, maybe 11 or something like that, or 10, that I decided I didn't want to be a dancer as a profession. That I wanted to. 11, 12, I guess, decided I wanted to choreograph. And I guess first it sort of happened by chance. I was actually in a rap duo when I was like 11 and 12 on Sony Records. And we did a couple music videos. And they weren't going to pay for a choreographer, so they said, well, you're a dancer, you choreograph. You know, so I kind of choreographed our video, and I guess that was my first impromptu job, you know. But yeah, I mean, I think really early on, I wanted to create it. I just became really interested in that side, and also probably because I became interested in film directing really young, like 8 or 9.
Wow.
So I was just interested in behind the scenes. I wanted to be the one who's creating it, and for me, I'll always be a choreographer, but I also always looked at it also as a stepping stone towards directing, towards film directing. You know, it was my obvious niche or my natural talent to start with, so like, this is what you do, and I, as I said, I'll always do it, but I knew it would, you know, teach me about telling stories and working with dancers, working with actors, you know, teaching them how to portray a story and a feeling, a character through movement. So yeah, it started really early for me. Yeah, a couple short films and some commercials, and we're right. My wife, who's my creative partner, we do all the conceptual stuff together. She's not a dancer; she's a writer. And we're writing a film right now that the goal is to do that this year. Shoot that this year. Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't know if I'd call it a dance film, but there's definitely dance in it. Man, I have no idea. Well, I mean, you know, I started doing Michael Jackson as a dancer. You know, that was all I ever did in the beginning. I was a Michael Jackson impersonator. And, you know, not much training in my lifetime, dance training. No classical training. You know, a little bit of jazz and things like that, because I was in a dance company in Australia. And hip-hop training. You know, I learned from a lot of the originators, Papa Taco, Papa Pete, who created all the original styles from breaking and stuff. So it progressed from Michael Jackson, whatever you call that, to hip-hop. I was kind of just focused on that, and that's definitely, I think, most of the time hip-hop remains the foundation of it, the root of what I do. But it's gone to a whole nother place, and you know, I'm just interested in really every style possible, and you know, try and get my eyes on as much as possible, and take a little bit from everything and try and turn it into my own thing. So I try my hardest really to keep it away from classification. Yeah, I guess I constantly try and keep myself in an uncomfortable place as far as challenging myself and you know, really scaring myself that I'm not going to be able to pull off what I want to do, and I find that's when I end up, you know, doing the best work. I mean, I guess, I don't know if nervous is the word, but yeah, I mean, definitely concerned, just because I'm always trying to find something new. I'll try and pick a piece of music, and you know, a style of music that I've never quite moved to before, because I just know it's going to push me to change my movement. You dance to the same type of music all the time, you're going to dance the same way. So yeah, I try and keep myself a little frightened, a little on edge. You know? Yeah, it's interesting because our relationship didn't start that way at all. I mean, we didn't meet as a creative friendship. We met just as lovers. You know, that's what all it was about. And it just sort of naturally progressed. I mean, very quickly she became the opinion that I trusted the most, and the approval that I needed, you know what I mean, on my work. And then she had more and more opinions, and it just kind of gradually, she got more and more involved, and it just happened naturally. And it's great because she's not a dancer. You know, she's not a choreographer, so she comes from a different perspective. And, you know, being with me for the years that she has, she really gets dance and understands it, but still doesn't come at it, you know, story-wise and conceptual-wise, from a dancer's perspective. So we bring something different to the table. Yeah, it's just a fun creative process where, I mean, we both have the same love for telling stories. and that's what it all boils down to for us. That's really first priority. Very rarely am I'll enjoy it, but I never really go for something just for the sake of movement. I always want to tell a story, whether it's really expensive or it's just a theme or a feeling, but that's what we spend our time doing. We'll either the concept comes first or the piece of music comes first. But we'll sit down and sometimes we'll spend a little time separately, just kind of working and writing, come up with ideas. Say that we found a song, and we listen to the song and seeing what it makes us feel, and then we'll just start springboarding stuff off of each other, and it's a lot of fun. That kind of relationship could not work at all, and I think rarely does, as far as a romantic relationship with a work relationship. But we get into it, and we fight about stuff creatively, but the thing we're really good at is when the work is done, switching. You know what I mean? And going back to that's over, we're married. You know what I mean? So I think that kind of keeps it really well balanced. She does. I mean, that's also a big thing for us as far as I think our relationship staying really good. Is that in this business you travel so much, and I'm sorry, being away from your partner that much, is never a good thing. Well, of course, if you want to be away from your partner that much, it's not a good thing. So that's all from the beginning. I've always said, even before we were working together, any trip, anything I did out of town, that was just part of the deal. It comes with me.
That's
so we stay together. I mean, it goes back to that same concept of trying to keep myself challenged, and I think you learn so much from every situation you're in, and as a choreographer, you learn so much from every different type of performer and dancer that you work with. It's not about being a dictator; it's about being a collaborator. And I think it's your job as a choreographer director to adapt to every situation you're in and every body that you're working with. Something that you create isn't, a piece of movement that you create isn't necessarily going to look the same on every dancer, and isn't necessarily going to look good on every dancer. So that's always a fun process of, you may go in with something in your mind that you want to do, and you put it on this body, and it just doesn't work at all. And it may be a cool piece of movement, but it may look like crap on this particular person. Even if they're wonderful, they just, everybody comes from a different place. So that's always a fun process, adapting. And then, it's just keeping that challenge, and it keeps me growing. Probably one of the hardest things I've ever done. I knew it was, that was one of those things where I was terrified going into it. Because it wasn't something I pursued. The director, Helgi Thompson, called me after he saw The Hummingbird and the Flower, something I did on So You Need to Dance. And he knew nothing of me before that, and he loved that piece, and he said, do you have any classical training? I said, not an hour. He was like, okay, thinking, does he regret calling me? But no, he was actually really cool, and just really wanted to try something new. So it was challenging in the fact that I'm used to, I think in the world that we're in, the dancers are usually pretty hungry and wild and ready to try anything. But when you step into the ballet world, they're a lot more conservative. At least this particular situation was, and tentative to try something new. They're not the kind of dancer, they're just like, yeah, I'll try it, I'll jump on his back, you know what I mean? They don't just throw themselves in, they're like, okay, really, they're timid and they're going to kind of break, So that was kind of tough, because I get in there and I start grabbing their bodies and, no, put it here, and they're just like, ah, what's going on? So it took a second, I think, to kind of, I mean, the dancers were really excited to try something new, but it was so new for them. But again, I didn't go in trying to just do me or what I usually do. I knew I was going to have to try and strike a balance in there, and then hoping that something new would be created out of my world and theirs.